Why is the rum always gone? Oh. That's why.
Captain Jack Sparrow of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies was known to enjoy a few sips of rum, and he's not the only one. Today, the spirit accounts for $2.3 billion in revenue here in the United States. Captain Morgan and Bacardi are two of the 5 best-selling spirit brands of any kind. Recently, sales of value rums are down, but super premium rums are surging. One of those, the Real McCoy, borrows from the past to separate itself from that stiff competition.
Most people have never really had an opportunity to taste completely unadulterated rums.
As the founder and CEO of Real McCoy Rum, Bailey Pryor is trying to change that.
You have all the same traditions and techniques that you would have in the finest Scotch whiskeys, the finest cognacs.
So I can sip rum on the rocks?
Yep, neat on the rocks. It's beautiful. We can do a little tasting if you'd like.
Without a doubt.
The Mystic, Connecticut-based Pryor has a small test distillery where he can develop new products or expressions. He poured us 3.
Now, next we're going to go to the 5-year. You're going to start getting more of the barrel in this now. You're going to start to get the lignins and tannins from the wood. So go ahead and give that a little sip.
I'm really amazed at how smooth these are.
That's what people tell me all the time. They say, I had no idea rum could taste like this.
I had no idea rum could taste like this.
Pryor had no experience making rum when he created the Real McCoy. He spent decades working in film, first as a production assistant on movies like Mystic Pizza and Home Alone, then making documentaries.
I do all my own research and I write all my own scripts. I direct my documentary films. And so I just get fascinated with subjects and then I'll go all the way down the rabbit hole.
Never more so than with his film about the legendary rum runner, Bill McCoy.
He's really the only name you know from the Prohibition era who wasn't a psychopathic murderer, right? There's Al Capone and Babyface Nelson and Machine Gun Kelly and then the guy who refused to break the law, Bill McCoy, or rip off his customers.
Like the world around him, Bill McCoy's life was about to turn upside down.
Pryor's 2012 film explored how the former shipbuilder helped create the illicit alcohol trade up and down the East Coast after ratification of the 18th Amendment.
He was the first guy to fill up a boat full of rum in January of 1920 down in the Caribbean. He sailed it up to New York City and acted as a floating liquor store 3 miles offshore.
A loophole in U.S. law made that international waters, allowing McCoy to supply smaller boats which would bring his rum back to shore.
The government had good reason to silence his legend. He became the face of rum.
Other people would cut their alcohols with turpentine, wood alcohol, prune juice, water. McCoy never did that, so they called his product the Real McCoy. And I just thought, you know, that phrase, it's such a household name, I wonder if anyone's ever trademarked it.
Turns out no one had, so Pryor did. Then, using photographs, he traced McCoy's rum through the tax stamps on its barrels to Barbados.
Barbados is the birthplace of rum, so the tradition of rum producing goes back about 400 years in Barbados.
Pryor and his wife Jennifer headed down to the Caribbean island in search of the distillery that produced McCoy's barrels. They ended up at Foursquare Distillery, home to 4th-generation rum maker Richard Seal.
So we don't know if that's where it came from or not, but I asked Richard if he would be willing to work with us. And I said I wanted the kind of rum that would have been on McCoy's ship back in 1920. So when someone takes a sip of this, they can taste what tradition is all about.
They can taste the Real McCoy.
They can taste the Real McCoy. And he said, well, that's all we make. And that's what started the whole thing.
One of the last family-owned distilleries on Barbados, Foursquare combines the past with the present in brewing. The key component to rum, sugarcane, is grown on the property. It's turned into molasses and distilled in a traditional pot still, which slows down the process but adds more flavor to the rum.
Everything is done in a sustainable process as you can possibly do on an island. We're 100% produced in Barbados, so we even do the bottling down there.
Please tell me you are not going 3 miles out in the water to pick up the shipments as they come in the same way.
No, we've talked about having a party out there.
Pryor says they're now selling up to 18,000 cases of rum a year, after just 1,500 in year one, 2013. He travels to rum festivals around the world, educating people on how rum should taste. And Pryor is so confident that his rum really is the real McCoy, he lobbied the U.S. government to become the first spirit company to list its ingredients on the label.
I'm convinced that people today want to be informed, they want transparency. People want to drink less, typically now, but they want to drink better.
And Bill McCoy became an iconic moral barometer, as complex and controversial as the era itself.
To think back, this documentary sort of started all of this. Would you ever have imagined at the beginning of that this is where you'd be?
No. In fact, it was sort of a lark. You know, we're like, hey, this is fun. We'll just do this on the side, you know, like, we'll sell it to our friends or something like that. And then it just kind of took off.
I lift a glass to you and say cheers.
Cheers.
Just
Thank
delicious.
you, Dana.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So as promised, you guys can taste. This is the 12. I'm telling you, all three to me were so smooth in comparison to other spirits that I've tasted.
You got the 12, the 5, and
I just love the smell of it. It's just
Have a sip. Just have a
so
little sip.
aromatic. There's something
just the
in
sugary, syrupy goodness that you.
It's molasses.
You're right. It is. It's good.
It's very smooth.
It's very nice.
Not what you expect from rum.
No, not always, especially when it's aged 12 years. I mean, that's like.
It's delicious.